Something I rarely talk about on here on Instagram is my passion for mental health, my passion for I don't know, psychology in general, just the human mind. And I may have like glossed over it years ago in one post, but years ago to 2018, 2017, I was really depressed for a long period of time. A lot of it had to do with just the way my mind was conditioned to work my entire life. When I was a kid, I had a lot of anxiety. I probably had some mild depression that I didn't really know about. But I was probably always comparing myself to others and had this really extreme mentality of perfectionism and you know, just high expectations of myself that I could never meet, and I would just get disappointed and be sad. And when I was 27, I changed careers from marketing to what I do now, which is acting, which is a really challenging career. And 2017, 2018, I've been in LA a few years. I remember I was living alone in North Hollywood, and I was getting some pretty decent paying jobs that year. A couple major shows and a really good commercial that's still been paying me to this date. But I, for some reason, just got really down. It was just a accumulation of these expectations I was carrying. And I wasn't happy at all. And I lived alone, and so I just kind of became reclusive. And when I'd go to like social things, which wasn't super often, or when I'd go to, my acting classes, I could try to put on a face, but I was carrying like some heaviness. I probably appeared like I was a bit troubled because I was really, really sad and I didn't really realize it. The crazy thing is some of you may know, when you're really depressed, you don't always realize it. You just don't view the world the same. You hear people talk about, positive things or the way they view the world, and you're just like, it's not how I view it. And, some people say, it's kind of like seeing the world in grayscale or like black and white. And that is kind of what it's like. So I remember I got super down. There was a lot going on in my family at the time. Just some, heavier things were happening in my family that we weren't accustomed to. And it was affecting me as well. And just, I was always viewing myself with that magnifying glass, being really, really hard on myself. And the people I used to go to for advice, like my dad, it just wasn't working the same anymore because I was a grown adult. And that advice, that mental health advice, mixed too much with religion. And it was like, hey, just do this more and you'll feel better. That's not always the case. It's usually not the case. Mental health is its own specific thing. It's super important. And there's just little things you can do to improve it every day. And so I needed help. And it took me asking a friend, a good friend of mine, who her therapist was, for me to actually go seek that help. Recently, I've heard from several friends, like, I've shared my therapist. Actually, there's like 2 therapists I've gone to over the years, very consistently. And I've shared their names with several friends lately. Because I think it's obvious. I mean, look at the world. A lot of us are struggling. And it is hard to find a therapist who takes your insurance and you trust. And so sometimes you need to ask your friends, like, hey, I'm dealing with this. Who do you talk to? And you'd be surprised. I know some people don't feel the need to talk to a therapist, and that's fine. I think it can benefit everyone, but I don't think it's everyone's way of dealing with things. But for me, it was exactly what I needed. This friend of mine, she shared her therapist with me. I began going every week for a while, and then it became every 2 weeks, and I still talk to that therapist every 2 weeks. And I can honestly say that it has changed my life. Definitely. It wasn't just a magical fix, but it made me more self-aware of who I am, why I feel so down some days, why some things trigger me so much. And it was a slow process to becoming just more self-aware and more loving with myself. And these are things that I am 100% sure that I don't think I could have gotten from my substitute therapist before, who was my dad. Because there's just certain things you just can't get because of the bias, because of someone knows you so well over the years, and they have their own opinion. A therapist is literally trained to, just like a doctor is trained to, or a dentist is trained to figure out what's wrong with your gums, your teeth, and fix that. That's what a therapist is trained to do, is help you figure out how your mind works and help you figure out how you can manage that and feel so much happier. But I've learned lately, especially, that happiness is fleeting. You can't feel happy every day, but you can feel peace. And peace can be a very steady state of being, and I just don't think happiness can be. But you don't need to feel sad every day. And I used to think, well, I'm an actor. I need to use these feelings of sadness, this depth, to make my work better. Truth is, that's always there. That pain, I can always access that. I don't need to feel that every day. We should feel peace in our lives, and we should feel content with where we're at. And a lot of those things have to do with our habits, our environment, that we're chasing something that we're passionate about. But I do think that there's a lot of people out there that just don't know who to ask, or don't know how to find a therapist, or they're so sad, they're so far down that when they look for a therapist online, they give up after 10 minutes. And so I just wanted to make a video that I thought would be shorter. Everything, I'm not very good at keeping things super concise. But I just wanted to make a video to let people in my circle know that mental health is something that means a lot to me. And if you ever want to reach out, and you ever are curious about, my path in finding more peace in my life, or you have questions about finding a therapist, or anything related, feel free to reach out to me. This is something that means more to me in my life than just about anything. So feel free to reach out to me, and I'll give you my 2 cents on that. And that's all I wanted to say. I just want to make a video about this. I just felt the prompting or urge to do that, and I hope this was worth watching or listening to for someone out there.